Yo, man, what's up, YouTube, man? Today, we got cop instantly loses it and immediately gets sued. Let's get straight into it. All right, want to get straight into the video. Let's get straight into the video, y'all.
Of August 22nd, 2023, the owner of the Sacramento Community Watch YouTube channel, who we will refer to as Mr. England, was walking in downtown Reno, Nevada, when he began to film a police investigation conducted by officers with the Reno Police Department, including Officer Gaucher and Officer Hoyt. Mr. England filmed the first part of the encounter, and the remainder of the interaction was captured on Officer Hoyt's body camera.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the Sacramento Community Watch. We are in the city of Reno, Nevada, right off of West 2nd Street and North Virginia Street. Looks like we have Reno PD, multiple vehicles. Of course, we're gonna walk up and see what's going on. First vehicle.
But yeah, can the police do something the police can do something to you if for what they say if you're messing with the investigation, right? Is that true or is it not? Can you let me know down in the comments below?
On the scene, 171 210 371. Vehicle is going to be occupied one. Hello, how's it going, Gaudier? Pretty good, man. What's going on out here? It's going to be additional vehicle 072 20.
I didn't know he was getting close to the police car like that. I didn't know he was getting close to the police car like that. I'm being honest. I didn't know he was doing all that. Crazy, but I mean, he's not doing nothing wrong. He's not really, what I'm saying, whatever they're investigating, he's not doing nothing wrong.
272. It's gonna also be occupied one time. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, what's going on out here? Nothing. Excuse me? Step away from your vehicle. Okay, this is our vehicle, actually. The city's vehicle. Okay. Also,
I mean, the cop, I'll be honest, the cop did ask nicely. He did ask nicely if he can step away from his vehicle, or the city, whatever it is. He did ask nicely the first time if you can step away from the vehicle. You know what I'm saying?
When you're dealing with public, I'm recording for my safety as well as yours. This is Officer Hoyt with the Reno PD. How you doing?
Is something I can help you with?
No, you jumped out your vehicle. Yeah. I mean, I didn't.
Why are you interfering with our investigation?
Interfering? That's a physical thing. I'm walking on a public sidewalk recording you during the course of your duties. What are you talking about?
What do you place your hands behind your back?
Okay.
Officer Hoyt places Mr. England in handcuffs and stops his live stream. As we have discussed many times here on ATA, courts have repeatedly held that filming the police in public is protected by the First Amendment. In the 1995 case of Fordyce versus Seattle, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, which has jurisdiction over Nevada, held that an individual videotaping and audio recording people on public streets had a, quote, First Amendment right to film matters of public interest. Similarly, in the 2018 case of Askins versus U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the Ninth Circuit determined that this right included, now quoting, the right to record law enforcement officers engaged in the exercise of their official duties in public places, noting that, now quoting again, the government's ability to regulate speech in a traditional public forum, such as a street, sidewalk, or park, is sharply circumscribed. Nevada state law also protects the right to film police officers, with Section 171.1233 of the Nevada Revised Statute stating that, quote, a person who is not under arrest or in the custody of a peace officer may record a law enforcement activity and maintain custody and control of that recording and any property or instruments used by the person to record a law enforcement activity. The statute also prohibits peace officers from interfering with an individual's recording of a law enforcement activity by, now quoting, intentionally preventing or attempt to prevent the person from recording a law enforcement activity, threatening the person for recording a law enforcement activity, commanding that the person cease recording a law enforcement activity when the person was nevertheless authorized by law to record the law enforcement activity, stopping, seizing, or searching the person because he or she recorded a law enforcement activity, or unlawfully seizing property or instruments used by the person to record a law enforcement activity.
Wait, okay, so let's say if he was like stopping or disturbing or messing with the investigation, they can arrest him, right? But if he just say like if I'm just recording, boom, 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 in a public space and police are just right there, they can't arrest me, right? Because I'm in a public space and recording is for my safety. Because you know how sometimes cops, some cops lie and then they take their word over yours. Because y'all know what I'm trying to say. Y'all know.
Activity, unlawfully destroying or seizing any recorded image of a law enforcement activity, or copying such a recording of a law enforcement activity without the consent of the person who recorded it, or obtaining approval from an appropriate court. However, it should be noted that the statute also states that, quote, this subsection must not be construed to authorize a person to engage in actions that interfere with or obstruct a law enforcement activity, or otherwise violate any other law in an effort to record a law enforcement activity. Accordingly, it is likely that a court would find that Officer Hoyt's conduct in ordering Mr. England to step away from the vehicle, detaining him, and stopping the live stream violated both the First Amendment and the Nevada statute, unless Mr. England's filming was interfering with or obstructing a law enforcement activity.
Charles 354. I don't want a permit, Nevada.
This is
Can I help you with,
Officer
sir?
Hoyt with the Reno PD. How you doing?
There's something I can help you with?
No, you jumped out your vehicle.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't
Why are you interfering with our investigation?
interfering.
Yeah.
That's a physical thing. I'm walking on a public.
Yeah, there wasn't no investigation going on around him. They just sitting in that car, you know what I'm saying? He's not interfering. He's just recording for his people, and he's doing it for his safety. Especially, I'm not trying to bring no race into it, but, you know, when police stop us or something like that, we have to record it for our safety so we know we have evidence. That we know we have evidence too. Or make sure it's live stream so we know we have evidence. So just in case, you know what I'm saying, something happened to us, it was live stream, you know what I'm saying? It's live, I mean, everybody saw it and it can go viral anywhere. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Reddit, Twitter. Anyway, it can even pop up on the news, you know?
Public sidewalk reporting
Is there something that I can
during
help
the
you
course of your duties. What are you talking about?
with? Go ahead and place your hands behind my back.
Okay. It's live streaming too, by the way. So this is
Put your hands behind your
this is
back.
the worst mistake you could ever make. I'm conducting First Amendment protected activity on a public sidewalk. This is not a crime scene. You don't have crime scene paper. This is your mistake. And I want to see your watch number too as well. So you might as well roll your lieutenant out. Thank you, sir. That was a horrible mistake. Why would you do that? I'm recording on a public sidewalk. There's no tape up, and there's other people walking on the sidewalk. Why would you do this? I need to speak to your lieutenant, please.
Doesn't work like that.
I am live.
Do you have anything in your pockets that can poke me, hurt me, and stick me?
I don't condone any searches or seizures.
I didn't ask you if you condone any
in my pocket
searches or
that's gonna
seizures.
poke or stick you.
Yeah, I'll be honest, y'all. To me, it just seemed like that cop is in a bad mood and just wanted to do something. 'Cause, you know, sometimes when cops go on their job, sometimes they don't pull nobody over and do nothing, and they just want to have just write something up. That might not be the case, but to me, it seemed like the cop kind of was not in the mood, kind of had a little attitude, you know, and then this dude walked up, recorded in the public space, and I feel like that's what kind of set him off, you know what I'm saying? Set off the police officer.
Horrible. Horrible. So now the officer's checking me.
Who are you talking to?
My live stream.
I stopped it.
Why would you stop you stopped my live stream? Wow.
All right, well, take a
Violation
seat.
of my rights. Wow. I can't believe you did that, dude.
Officer Hoyt informs Mr. England he is being charged with obstructing an officer because he refused to walk away from his vehicle while he was having a quote-unquote private conversation and refused to sit on the ground after he had been handcuffed. Section 199.280 of the Nevada Revised Statutes states that, quote, a person who willfully resists, delays, or obstructs a public officer in discharging or attempting to discharge any legal duty of his or her office shall be punished. Similarly, Section 197.190 of the Revised Statutes, which codifies the offense of obstructing a public officer, states that, quote, every person who shall willfully hinder, delay, or obstruct any public officer in the discharge of official powers or duties shall be guilty of a misdemeanor. In the 2024 case of Wilson versus the First Judicial District Court of the state, the Court of Appeals of Nevada held that Section 197.190 did not require the use of force or violence, and that, now quoting from that case, a person's action, e.g. blocking the path of an officer, or inaction, e.g. refusing to obey a lawful order, may constitute physical conduct that hinders, delays, or obstructs an officer. However, in the 2023 case of U.S. versus Garcia, the U.S. District Court for the District of Nevada determined that the lawfulness of an officer's conduct is an essential element of Section 199.280, and that, accordingly, when officers lacked reasonable suspicion to detain a citizen, they were not carrying out a lawful duty when they detained him, and the citizen therefore could not be arrested for resisting for his actions during that detention. Likewise, in the 2023 case of Bernal versus Sacramento County Sheriff's Department, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals concluded that, quote, verbally challenging and recording officers are not illegal actions, and thus orders to cease such actions are not lawful orders. Consequently, the court found that deputies did not have probable cause to arrest a citizen under California's resisting statute for his failure to comply with orders to stop recording officers, as he was not disobeying a lawful command. Well, given this precedent, it is
See, y'all, look. I kind of understand. I understand the officer too. Not the recording part, because you're allowed to record in a public space. Now, if it was a private space, yeah, you're not allowed to record in a private property space. But they can just give you a trespassing. In a public space, you're allowed. But I understand the cop, because the cop asked him the first time nicely if he can step away from his vehicle. And then, saying,
probable that a court would conclude that Mr. England's arrest was unlawful if it also determines that Officer Hoyt did not have the authority to order Mr. England to step back from the vehicle, which seems likely. However, it should be noted that the right to film in public is not absolute, and courts have consistently held that the right to film the police is subject to reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions. In the 2024 case of DeCastro versus Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, the U.S. District Court for the District of Nevada held that Officer Brandon Burke was entitled to qualified immunity in a Fourth Amendment lawsuit filed by a citizen that he arrested for filming a traffic stop, Jose DeCastro. Officer Burke informed Mr. DeCastro that he could continue filming, but ordered him to stand farther back from the traffic stop. Mr. DeCastro backed up about a foot or two, but when Officer Burke ordered him again to step back, Mr. DeCastro refused to step back further, and Officer Burke placed him under arrest. The court
so that can be he's objecting or messing with an investigation that they're doing. Could be, right? Or am I wrong?
That Officer Burke was entitled to qualified immunity, meaning that Mr. DeCastro could not bring a civil lawsuit against him for any violations of the Fourth Amendment, because Mr. DeCastro's lawsuit did not point to, quote-unquote, clearly established law that would have put Officer Burke on notice that arresting Mr. DeCastro would violate the Fourth Amendment. Although Mr. DeCastro referenced the Fordyce case that we discussed earlier in this episode, the court stated that, quote, merely asserting a broad First Amendment right to film police activity in public is not sufficiently specific. DeCastro has not identified a Supreme Court or Ninth Circuit case establishing that a bystander has a right to film from a particular distance, that an officer cannot tell a bystander filming a traffic stop that they must back up, how far the officer can order the person to back up, and that the officer cannot arrest a person who disobeys that directive.
Hold on. First Amendment right to film police activity in public is not that a bystander has a right to film from a particular distance, that an officer cannot tell a bystander filming a traffic stop that they must back up. Okay.
The court also argued that, now quoting again, DeCastro also has not pointed to a robust consensus among other courts on the contours of reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions on filming the police in public. Courts vary on how close is too close, and whether the allowable proximity changes based on the context, such as a traffic stop, an arrest in a public place, or near a police check.
But also, I kind of feel the cop, because why are you filming like this? You like I get it, you're allowed to record, but like, damn, like y'all all up in a car like this. Hey man, how you doing, officer? How you doing, officer? Like damn,
checkpoint. Well, accordingly, even though Mr. England would have a strong defense for any resisting or obstruction charges brought against him, if he were to pursue a civil lawsuit against Officer Hoyt, qualified immunity would be a particularly challenging hurdle to clear.
Take a seat right here.
I can't believe you. I don't want to sit down.
I told you to sit down.
I don't have to sit down, though.
I told you to sit down.
Why would I have to sit down?
Now you're under arrest.
How
Get
am
back
I
in my
under
car.
arrest? Cartier, get this guy under control, please. You know what I was recording him. While he was
This
in his
too, right here. The officer asked you to sit down. Just sit down. It's like this dude is like I get both sides, but also it's like this dude right here that's arrested. It seems like he's trying to it's like he's trying to find a problem. It's like he's trying to find a problem, you know. But like, if the cop asks you to sit down, bro, just sit down. That just means you're detained. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro.
That's nothing. That's not against the law. You should know that. I've already talked to your sergeant.
Actually, sit back up.
I've
Check your pockets.
already talked to your sergeant.
That's cool. Stand right here.
There will be litigation.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah. Good for the city. Because you're wasting tax dollars. Stopping the First Amendment activity.
Explain all that to the judge.
Okay.
Or to your YouTube followers or whoever you want. I don't care. I hope it's worth the YouTube likes.
Yeah, I hope it's worth your
Scott, will you grab that?
And I'd like to speak to your sergeant as well, please.
It just seems like the cop was not in the mood for these antics too, because sometimes civilians do actually do too much sometimes, and then it's kind of annoying. Like, if you're in that cop's shoes and you got the civilian in your car filming like this, like, you wouldn't, like, would you be annoyed or would you not? Me personally, well, it depends if I'm in a, you know what I'm saying, what type of mood I was in. The officer seems like he was in a bad mood already, so he just wanted to arrest this dude just because. You know what I'm saying?
Cool. You can speak to him when you get out of jail. You can call him.
I'm just getting off work. There's nothing in there. And I have to go to work tomorrow. Just be aware of that.
Yeah, I don't really care about that.
You don't really care about that? Your body camera on?
Yeah. Wow. See how it's red and blinking?
Wow. Wait. But I have two pins on my chest. Writing pins.
Okay. Thank you for telling me that.
Oh, no problem.
So separate your feet for me?
Okay. Three pins.
All right, go ahead and take a seat, sir.
All right.
It just seems like the dude that was filming seems like he wanted to start a problem or go find a problem, you know, to me. But also, we honestly really don't know. But it's really 50-50 because you understand the cop too, and then filming, you know, saying it's not illegal. It's not illegal. It's illegal. You can film in a public space, you know.
Let me spill this on the floorboard for me. Bunch of nice ones. Yeah, let me get a little bag. Thanks, dude. Good? Yeah. All right, sir, what's your last name?
England.
England?
Yeah. What am I being charged with?
Obstructing or resisting a peace officer. How do you spell England?
How did I obstruct? What did I obstruct?
Is it spelled like the country?
Yeah. How did I
Oh, that's
obstruct
what I
them?
meant. Obstruct an investigation. That I said messing with an investigation. I mean obstruct investigation, right? Is that right or am I wrong? I might be wrong. I don't
There's
know.
no
I might
crime
be
scene
wrong.
tape. There's people walking on the sidewalk all around.
What's your first name?
I'm confused by that. Can I speak to your sergeant?
No. What's your date of birth? What's your social?
I didn't even do anything wrong.
What city were you born in?
not break the law at all whatsoever. I record you guys all the time.
I don't mind you recording me. As a matter of fact, I think I remember. Were you over when we found the stolen car over on Wells?
No. Stolen cars, no.
I don't mind you recording us. It's when you're in my window when I'm trying to have a private conversation with someone on the phone,
But
and you won't step away after I told you multiple times to walk away.
But your sergeant
and then when I
already
try and
told-
tell you to sit on the curb and I try and detain you peacefully, and then you refuse to follow my commands,
Well, because
that's
I
why
was
you're under arrest.
unlawfully arrested, though.
Hey, what's up? No, I'm good.
Nothing. I did nothing wrong. In fact, I approached you peacefully and respectfully.
No, you're good. What gentleman? Yes, ma'am. Talk to you later. Bye.
Hey, wait. Can we just start over? If you ask Guardian, I've recorded him, and he's very cordial with it.
Yeah, I have no problem with you recording. But just like if you were the press and you came with the camera, I'd have no problem with that. But just like the press, I told you, hey, you need to step back. I can't have you in my face right at my window when I'm trying to have a private conversation. You understand that?
Right.
So I asked you several times to step away, and you said no.
I was wanting to ask you questions.
No,
though.
I said, is there something I can help you with? And you said no. Oh, this is actually my car. Blah blah blah. And then I
said the
detained
public's
you.
car.
I detained you in handcuffs. You said it was our car.
Mr. England
See?
argues that the police
You guys understand what the cop is saying? See, I understand it. It's 50-50. It's 50-50. Bro, if you're the cop, if you're in the cop situation right now, and then somebody walk up to the car and film you like this, then when you ask the person, do you need anything? You say no. Okay. Why are you still at my window? You know? Why are you still at my window? Can you back up? Like, can you go over there? You know what I'm saying? Then he asked him, can you sit down on the curb? He didn't listen. Sound like this dude right here is hard-headed. You know what I'm saying? Just do what he want, you know?
police vehicle belongs to the public, since it is paid for by tax funds, and therefore that Officer Hoyt could not make a so-called private call from the vehicle. Now, while the police vehicle is publicly owned in the sense that it's owned by the government, it is important to note that the fact that property belongs to a government entity does not mean that everyday citizens can exercise control over it. Rather, as the Supreme Court explained in the 1966 case of Adderley versus Florida, the government, now quoting, has power to preserve the property under its control for the use to which it is lawfully dedicated, and that, now quoting again, the United States Constitution does not forbid a state to control the use of its own property for its own lawful, non-discriminatory purpose. However, Mr. England does have a valid point about the level of privacy that Officer Hoyt could expect for his phone call, although the issue stems from the fact that he was parked on a public street with his windows down, rather than from the government ownership of the police vehicle. As the U.S. District Court for the District of Nevada...
That is true. If you have your windows down in a public space and you're parked, is that really a private conversation? Because windows down, you could have your windows up if you're having a private conversation or whatever he was talking about. You guys get what I'm saying?
Explained in the 2013 case of Schmidt versus Furlong, quote, "There is no reasonable expectation of privacy in areas open to public observation." Now, while this case, like many others addressing similar issues, centers on whether an officer's actions violated a citizen's Fourth Amendment rights, the common sense principles underlying these cases are equally relevant to Officer Hoyt's conduct. If Officer Hoyt needed his conversation to be private, well, he should have created the privacy necessary to conduct a secure phone call by, at the very least, rolling up the police vehicle windows.
And then I tried to tell you to sit down, which is a lawful command when you're being detained.
Why would you detain me, though? I didn't do anything
Okay,
wrong.
I'm not going to have this conversation with you.
Well, can we just start over?
No, there's no straight. You're under arrest.
I have to go to work tomorrow. Literally.
You're not going to work now. Look and turn that way so you can put your seatbelt down.
Okay.
I'll be honest, though. It's 50-50. You know, it's really 50-50. I understand the cop, and I kind of understand the dude that was filming, but the cop, he literally asked him, okay, can you back away from the car? Can you back away from my car? Still recording. Put you in handcuffs. Asked you to sit down on the curb. You said, no, I don't want to sit down like you're a kid or something. No, I don't want to sit down. Now you're under arrest. You know what I'm saying? Boom. Now Mr. England see what's going on. And, oh, I apologize. Now you want to apologize? See, in this situation, I believe the cop is right. Y'all might have different opinions, but I believe the cop is right in the situation because, like, he already asked him, can you back up? Boom, 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 boom. He didn't listen. He didn't listen again. All right, you getting arrested then, you know what I'm saying?
How would you have to go to work?
Well,
I can afford to lose my job. I'm serious.
next time you should listen to officers when they warn you. Who's going to give me a list as next to kin emergency contact for you? Do you want anything other than?
So isn't obstruction like a physical thing?
No.
When there's a crime scene?
It's defined as literally anything that places a delay in the lawful duties of a public officer's, in the duties of the public officer's office, or something along those lines.
You said that you was on a personal phone call. So when
No, I said a private. That's different.
private, right? But you're a public officer, so
Okay.
a private call will have to be done in the private.
Is this not? My car is considered private. Okay, am I allowed to break into your car and do whatever I want in your car?
This is the public's car, though.
This is not the public's car.
The police car?
That's
The public
correct.
pays for this vehicle.
So do you think that I would arrest somebody if they were to get in my?
I mean, he's not wrong. People do pay for your how the cops get paid is from our taxes. We get taxed that goes to y'all and the schools and all that. Y'all get paid from us. So he's technically right. It is a public vehicle. He is technically right. I mean, he's not wrong. He's not, you know what I'm saying? He's technically not wrong. You know what I'm saying?
My car without my permission? My point is that it doesn't belong to you. It doesn't belong to any random person that walks down the road.
It belongs to us as the public, though.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
All right, well, you can explain that to the judge.
Okay. I'm surprised you don't know that.
I'm not surprised that you don't.
Although Mr. England was arrested, no criminal charges were ever filed in court. Mr. England told me that he attempted to obtain the arrest report, but he was told by the Reno PD that the encounter was still under investigation. Mr. England also told me that he contacted Lieutenant Ryan Connolly, who informed him that the department had reached a conclusion on the matter, but Officer Hoyt was appealing, and the department did not know when the appeal would be resolved. In September of 2023, Mr. England filed a pro se federal civil lawsuit alleging that Officer Hoyt violated his First and Fourth Amendment rights. However, this dispute was dismissed without prejudice on April 2nd, 2024, because the pleading did not include sufficient factual allegations to state a legal claim. Mr. England was arrested again on September 18th, 2023, for filming Officer Anthony Sotelo. I've included a link to Mr. England's footage of this arrest in the description below. This time, Mr. England was charged with resisting a public officer, and on April 1st, 2024, a judge found him guilty after a bench trial. On April 29th, 2024, Mr. England appealed his
So he did it again? Yeah. There's no way the first time you good and then you get arrested again doing the same thing. Like, bro.
Conviction to the district court. And as of the date of writing this episode, the appeal is still pending. Overall, Officer Hoyt gets an F for maintaining an impatient and authoritarian demeanor throughout the encounter, exhibiting a blatant disregard for Mr. England's First Amendment right to film and the Nevada statute protecting citizens' rights to record the police, and failing to exercise discretion and basic common sense. Although this is not the first time that we have encountered an officer with a similar attitude on this channel, it is truly baffling that Officer Hoyt seemed to believe that he could have a private phone call on a public street, and this entire altercation could have been avoided had Officer Hoyt simply rolled up his window to create the privacy he desired. And although I think it is possible, if not probable, that a court would grant Officer Hoyt qualified immunity for his actions, this does not mean that I believe that the arrest was reasonable, justified, or even lawful. Rather, it simply highlights the challenges faced by civil rights plaintiffs in meeting the high standard of proof.
So you're saying he didn't really have to be rude about it. Like I said earlier, he could have rolled up his window. If he wanted a private car, just roll up your window. That's a private conversation right there. You know what I'm saying?
Required to overcome the often insurmountable obstacle of qualified immunity. Mr. England gets an A- because, although he expressed some confusion regarding the public's ownership of the police vehicle, and he refused to comply with several officer orders, he submitted to the arrest while verbally dissenting and requesting a supervisor. And he also took appropriate steps after the arrest to challenge Officer Hoyt's actions. That being said, I do want to caution Mr. England that, as we discussed earlier in this episode, officers are permitted to impose reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions on how and where citizens can film them. Unfortunately, the specific boundaries of what constitutes a quote-unquote reasonable restriction have not been thoroughly litigated, leaving some uncertainty in this area. As the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals explained in the 2022 case of Bueller versus Deere, quote, "The rub is figuring out when filming veers from documenting to interfering. For example, how far away should a citizen photographer be so as not to get in the way? How close is too close, such that the filming, however well-intentioned, becomes hazardous, diverting officers' attention and impeding their ability to perform their duties in fast-moving, highly charged situations? Now, although I do not believe that Officer Hoyt's restriction was lawful or reasonable in this instance, I do hope that Mr. England understands that future encounters may present situations where refusing to step back from a traffic stop or other officer investigation could lead to a lawful arrest. Given the legal ambiguity surrounding what constitutes a so-called reasonable restriction, it may be prudent to err on the side of compliance with such orders, even if they seem overly restrictive. This approach could mitigate the risk of a criminal conviction if a court ultimately finds the order to be lawful. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal...
Yeah, man, let me know what you think down below. Do y'all agree with the cop or do you agree with the dude? Let me know down below, man. We're out, man. I'll see you guys until the next video, man. We out.